Kelly from Loch Briar Knits, coming to you from Nova Scotia, Canada, where I live with my husband and our foolish golden retriever, who actually just left the room after spending about 10 minutes in here with his squeaky toy. So I was getting a little nervous. He might decide it was playtime, but he seems to have settled down. So welcome everybody to returning subscribers and viewers. Thank you so much for coming back. If you're new to the podcast, welcome, and I hope you'll keep coming back into my little corner of cyberspace and seeing what's going on. This is mostly a podcast about knitting, and I also hand dye my own yarns, and that's sort of a new project I've been working on, so I talk about that a little. And I am eventually going to start sewing. I keep putting it off every month, and I haven't gotten to it yet, but I am going to relearn how to sew. So, yeah, I think that's it for, oh no, sorry. Where can you find me? Other than here, I'm really active on Instagram, and there you can find me under Kelly L. Boyce, and also on Ravelry as Loch Briar, and there's also a group for the podcast Loch Briar Knits, and that's where I'll put all the show notes. I'll also put them down below, and I've started time stamping each section just in case there's a section that doesn't really appeal to you. Then you can kind of jump to wherever you prefer to be. Yeah, where else am I? I have a Facebook page, Loch Briar Knits, and an Etsy shop, Loch Briar Knits. So I think that's everything. I'm going to put a little like cue card that pops up, and it's also going to be down below as well. So if you're trying to find me, just check out those places. I'm usually around one of them. There's like this hair on the screen, and it's really driving me crazy. Okay, sorry. Anyway, so yeah, what's new? I had a long weekend. Well, you know, everybody I think in Canada had the long weekend. Last weekend it was our Victoria Day weekend, so I had Saturday, Sunday, and Monday off, which was really nice. We took a trip. My husband and I took a trip down to Mahone Bay, which is about maybe an hour's drive, and it's a beautiful spot. So we went down there, and they have a yarn store there that I always call the Yarn Barn, and that's not its name. I think it does have yarn in the title. But every time we go there, I make a little pilgrimage down, and I pick myself up some yarn. So I did get a few things while I was down there, but I didn't go crazy because I had already gone to the Loop the day before and gotten some yarn. I was having a really bad day on Friday. Do you ever have like one of those days where you're, and now to preface this, I'm not a crier. You know, like I'm not somebody who just bursts out into tears. But Friday, I was having one of these days, and I swear to God, if somebody looked at me the wrong way, I was just going to lose it. I was going to either, you know, bulldoze over them, or I was just going to burst out into tears. So by the time lunchtime rolled around, I was supposed to go to the gym, but I was just like, I don't want to go to the gym. I just want to go outside. And it was sunny, so I went outside, and of course the Loop, which is our local yarn store, is right down the street from my office, as I've mentioned before, strategically located. So I took a little jaunt down there, and I bought myself a couple skeins of lichen and lace. So, you know, this seems as good a time as any just to jump right into the acquisitions, because clearly that's where I'm going. So, as I was saying, I did get a couple of skeins of lichen and lace. I love her yarns, and I wanted to get some singles. I've got a lot of her fingering weight, and I do have a couple singles. I have this one, which I think I've shown before, and it's called Clover. So But most of what I have is fingering weight. So I thought I'd get some, this is the justification I used. Well, I don't have very many singles. I don't know what I'm going to knit with them yet. But apparently I needed some singles. So this gorgeous blue, it's called Teal Tide. And I'll see if I can get her label here. Get my face out of the way so we can get some focus. There we go. So that's, she's located in Sackville, New Brunswick, which is one of the maritime provinces, which Nova Scotia is also part of. For those of you not familiar with the local who's where and what. So this one is Teal Tide, and this one is Daylily. Look at the colors. Let me see if I can do this without, I'm like so uncoordinated, honestly. Da, 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 da. So that's, see if we can get, there we go. So those are the two single purchases that I got from Lichen in Lace. I gotta tell you, like, it looks a little washed out here because I actually have the window right next to me. Oh, hang on. Get that up there. But look at the, like, the colors going through here are just beautiful. Like the reds and the, like almost, I don't even, there's some red there, but it's like so blended in that it just gives this crazy color. And I'm sorry that the window's kind of washing it out a bit, but if you go onto her website, which is literally like it's, I think she has an Etsy shop too, but you can order this right off her website. So if you go to Lichen and Lace, that's how you spell it, .com, I think it is. So, but her yarns are beautiful. And I think she was doing kind of collections for when everyone was doing the Find Your Fade. Actually, still a lot of people doing the Find Your Fade. But she had some yarns, and I picked up a bunch, and then I decided not to do the Find Your Fade. But, so that was my 2 Friday, I'm having a really bad day, I want to make myself feel better purchases. And I'm going to stick these back here. Then we went to Mahone Bay, and I wonder if they've got the thing on here. No, they don't. Anyway, so we went to Mahone Bay, and Fleece Artist, yeah, which are local, they do these beautiful, beautiful yarns, and I think you can order them. I've noticed other people who do not live in the area talking about them. So they're either ordering them online somewhere, or they're buying them online somewhere, or they're selling them in their local yarn stores, I think. You know what? I'm going to say right now, I know I frig with my hair a lot. I've noticed I do that. I'm growing it out, so it's probably going to bug me, and I'll be like, more. Anyway, you're forewarned. So anyway, sorry. This is the Fleece Artist one. It's got all these kind of nice, like muted, soft colors, gray and kind of like almost like a lilac-y color, and the yellows. And it is so soft. And I think it is a blend. I think it's a blend. 70% merino, 20% kid, and 10% nylon. So this is fingering weight. It's called Kidazzle, I guess because of the kid in it. So I know the kid in me let out a little squeal when I got it. I should also forewarn you, I have not been sleeping. So I'm just gonna like apologize ahead of time for whatever foolishness comes out of my mouth. So so sorry. Sorry, you may have to suffer through this. Anyways, this is the second skein I got, and this is hand Maiden, and it's from the mini Maiden, 50% silk and 50% wool. And I can't even begin to describe how soft this is, but look at the colors. It's like, again, I went for kind of soft muted colors. I think maybe because the two lichen and lace were so vibrant, I was just balancing it out. But it's soft blues and yellows and then some greens. And these are almost, it's almost like a gold, a pale goldy yellow color. And this here is like, that's kind of a pale rosy color, I guess. But this is so soft, and this is singles fungus, and this is probably more lace weight or singles weight. Might be lace. So that's all the yarn purchases, which is enough because it's enough. It's never enough. Okay, I'm gonna stick these back in here. So that's those goodies. The other thing that I got at the yarn barn, I'll try to remember to look up what it's called and put it down in the notes. So this is the other thing I got. The Addi Turbo Rockets. Yeah, Turbo Rockets. So I got the 40-inch, and it's in US size 0, so 2mm. I want to start doing my socks on the magic loop. So I asked the lady at the shop what I should look at lengthwise, and she said the 40mm, because I was thinking like, what do I need for like 24? So I'm glad I asked, because yeah. I think you could also probably use 32. I've heard some people use 32 and they like that better than the 40, but I'll start off with the 40, and then if I want to change it, that's what I'll do. So I got some Addi Turbos, and these babies are sharp. Let's see if I can do this. See if you can kind of. So they're not as sharp. She said they're not as sharp as the haveayarns, and I don't know if that's gonna focus very well with my mug in the way. But my hands are very dehydrated. I'm dehydrated. My hands are showing, but these are sharp. Like these bad boys these could do some damage. So she said they're not as sharp as the haveayarns, but they're very close. So. Because I actually went in there looking for the haveayarns, and they had a few, but they said because of the crazy exchange rates, they're gonna stop carrying them, and they're actually, I guess, a Addi distributor, so they have lots of Addis, and I like the Addis actually, and I'm really looking forward to using the Addi Turbos. See if it'll make me knit faster. I don't know. So that is it for acquisitions as far as supplies. But now that I have some supplies, clearly I need to know what to knit with them. So I did a little pattern shopping over the last couple of days. So yeah. I joined the Shawl Society too. And so I've got the Fairy Hill shawl. So I'm going to be doing that. And I'm going to do, you have a choice between doing the small or the medium. And I was originally thinking the small, but I really like the idea of the two colors. I'm not doing the beads. Yeah, I'm not doing the beads. Because, you know, I don't know, I'm not a beady person. But here's what I love. And I wish every pattern did this because it would make my life much easier. You've got like the little thing here, and you can just, here's the line you're on, check it off, check it off. I love that. So that's going to make my life much easier. So I think I'm not going to cast this one on until I finish the clues from the Starting Point mystery wrap from Bohoknits that I'm doing. And, but yeah, I really like this one. But I'm apparently on a shawl kick because Nordic Wind. I don't know where I stumbled on this one. Oh, you know what? Somebody had just finished knitting it on Instagram, and they hashtagged the name of it, and then I just went on Ravelry because this is clearly how I do most of my shopping, on Ravelry. So, sorry, I'm peeking my head around to see. Let me see that. So that is the Nordic Wind shawl. And apparently now what are they using? I was going to use a lighter weight. They're using like a Lopi wool, Aran weight wool. So I think, sorry, I need my Lunenburg shop around the corner mug. Oh my God. My go-to tea is Lemon Thriller, and I keep saying I should branch out and get crazy, and I do like other teas, but Lemon Thriller is my go-to. It's just like at the end of the day, I'm just like, yeah, that's what I needed. That or wine. I went with tea today. I may have wine later. So, it's an Aran weight yarn. I think I might do... It knits up, I think, fairly large. I may do it on fingering weight. Because number one, if I use fingering weight, I can stash dive. And I don't have to go crazy and spend more money on yarn. Not that I'm opposed to doing that, but my bank account has other ideas. So, yeah, it's a pretty easy pattern. It's a pay pattern, but it looks like I could do TV knitting with this. So I might just oops. That I don't know which one I'll cast on, this or the Fairy Hill shawl first. I don't know, because the second shawl from the Shawl Society 2, I think it's coming out soon. So yeah, we'll see. But then I also seriously, last episode I went on a sweater kick, and this episode seems to be a shawl kick. So one of my favorite designers is Isabell Kraemer, and she's got this great, all of her patterns are great. I love them. But this one just looks so cozy. Let's see if I can get it to... This one is called Paris Toujours. Toujours. We're a bilingual country, but I'm not. Tell you a story. So when my husband and I first started going out, we'd been going out for about, I don't know, a few months, and he decided we kind of knew right from the get-go that this was it for both of us. Friends first, and then when we finally got together, it was like, yeah, this is it. So a few months later, he decides to surprise me and sit, with a trip to Paris. So that was probably April that he surprised me, but we weren't going until the following September. But his French is much better than mine. I thought mine was okay. I can read it, but when it comes to having to pronounce it or understand what somebody is saying to me, forget it. Not happening. So when we were there, we didn't eat a lot at restaurants. So we ended up going to a lot of the local bakeries and the little corner sandwich shops and what have you. I swear I ordered a chicken sandwich. I'm sure I did. But what I got was smoked salmon. So apparently my pronunciation of poisson, and which I don't even know if that's what you would say for smoked salmon, because that's just fish. So I don't know. And poulet was so massacred that they probably just said, she looks like a smoked salmon kind of girl, give her that. Or they were totally messing with me. Although I know you hear people say that the French are rude. I found them absolutely lovely. I love them. I love them. I love Paris. I did not love smoked salmon. So my husband and I switched. So I don't even remember what he got, but it wasn't smoked salmon and it tasted really good. So that's my Paris story. And that's going to be my Paris wrap. So this one, I think it's DK weight, maybe. Oh no, this is the one you have an option. You can go the DK version or you can go the fingering weight version. So I don't know which one I'll do. I may do the, I don't know, the one in the picture is DK weight. But I may go fingering just so I can wear it maybe over 3 seasons as opposed to just one and a half. So that was the other one. And I have another, this is called, I think it's called the Sockhead hat. So you literally, it's a skein of sock yarn and you make a hat out of it. And given that I have a fair amount of sock yarn, I thought, you know, that'll kind of give me a good project. And again, good TV knitting or just car knitting, or if somebody's in the room talking to me knitting, yeah, because anything beyond that and they're talking to me, things are going to go bad in a hurry. So that, I think that's it. That's all my acquisitions. So I didn't plan on going. Actually, some of those, I think one of the patterns, I think the Sockhead hat on Ravelry is a free download if I'm remembering correctly. So technically I only bought 3 patterns. And Isabell Kraemer has a sweater and I think she's got another shawl coming out. I think I'm remembering that correctly. And I really want them. I really want them, like bad. So I've been watching for them. And when they come out, I will buy them. So, not gonna lie, they will be mine. And that's it for acquisitions. So, what should we move on to next? Oh, ha! I got me a faux. So we're gonna go right into faux, hose, what's on my needles, and all that kind of goodness. So I got a faux. I'm so happy. Not only do I have a faux, but I have weaved in all of the ends. So this bad boy is ready to go once winter, late fall rolls back around, and it can take its sweet time. So this was my church mouse yarn slouchy hat. I had the pattern here. I did. Oh, wait. All right, here we are. Dun, 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 dun. I never did print off a color version. Whatever. Here's your color version. So here it is in all its gorgeous glory. I love this hat. It was actually a really fun knit. It was very simple. It's literally stocking stitch, and then you just do this thing twice. In the picture, which I just threw down the floor, it's fairly slouchy, and I did follow the sizing, but it's not, well, maybe it is. Maybe I don't know. Can you see? Is it slouchy? It's not quite as slouchy, but it fits perfect as I wanted it. So I think if I do it again, well, maybe it is. See, it's just hard to tell because I can't see the back of my head. Yeah, so I love it. I do. I'm going to make another one and in different colors. So this is what I used. I used the Telluride, which is from Classic Elite Yarns, and I used it in the gray and the red. I've got like a ton of the red left over. I've got probably a third of the gray skein left over. And I actually have, I know. So I've got this, and I've got like 2 more reds. I've got some green. And then I've got, which this stuff is about the same weight. This is like alpaca. Yeah, 100% alpaca. So I've got this in like orange. I've got some purple. What else have I got in here? Oh yeah. That might be a little heavier weight. Some Kenzie and like this, I don't know, burgundy, I guess. So I got options. I've got options. I actually really like the gray and the red because I am a huge gray fan and I love gray with red. So this is my faux. Oh, actually, you know what? I think that might be slow too. Anyway, so that, what did I do with my, I just shoved it back in there. Okay. So this is my faux, Most Yarns and Tea. So if you go on their website, it's a free, the pattern's a free download. It's so simple. It was so easy to knit. I did it while we were watching the hockey playoffs, which Pittsburgh is still in. Here's my problem. Here is my problem with the hockey playoffs. So I like PK Subban, and I like Nashville. So I was really happy for them to get into the finals. But Pittsburgh, which is my team, is playing Ottawa, which is the only Canadian team left in. So I'm like, do I cheer for my team or do I cheer for the Canadian team? So either way, technically I'm cheering for my team. But if my team doesn't get in, I'm really happy that a Canadian team got in. And I like Ottawa. Ottawa's a good team. So, you know, that's my hockey story. I'll be happy either way, and I'll keep watching to see who gets the cup. And that's my faux. I actually have been semi-monogamous. I was two-timing because I was mostly working on the starting point cowl, which I'm going to find here. So if you've watched the last episode, you saw the ridiculosity of me trying to hold up all my yarns and decide what ones I wanted to use for the Hohi starting point mystery cowl. It's a mouthful. I think of the ones of the colors that I held up, I might have kept 2. Maybe. So here's what I ended up with. You have to choose 5 colors. So I started off. Color number 1 is Lichen and Lace, of course, and that's their Sweet Pea colorway. That's the Sweet Pea colorway. So it's just like this nice soft pink, but you kind of see, I think you can see, they've got little bits of purple coming through. So that was color number 1. And this was, sorry, it's still attached. It's still attached. This is Juniper Moon, and that's in the Moon, I think it was called Moon Gray. So that's really just like a nice light neutral gray, because again, I love gray. So that's color number 2. Color number 3 is Pirate and Woolly, or Pirate and Wool. It's German, I don't know. I'll list all the ones that I use and put them in the show notes. But she doesn't have names for the colorways, so I think this one was like, actually I don't remember the number on it, and I don't know. Oh no, I do. I did keep them. So anyways, I'll show you the yarn first. Hang on. This is kind of a great, it's got greens and pinks. It's mostly pink, but it's got, see if I can find a spot here. You can kind of see it's got like some greens, and it's sort of like an off-white, like an, I don't know, ecru. Is color number 3. So I have no idea how you say her name, but, and it's just says like A70. So I'm not really sure, you know. But color number 4, I love, and I hope we use more of it kind of further in the pattern. We've only used a little of it right now, and I love it. It's really soft. I love knitting with it. So this is the Sweet Paprika, and it's in Larkspur. So that was, yeah, Sweet Paprika. So that's the color of that one, and I love it. It's like, there's just a really nice rich purple color. And then I can hear the dog's tail wagging against the wall, so it's got to be my husband pulling in the driveway. I don't get that reaction. I get the I'm upstairs, come and scratch my belly when I get home. So this is another Lichen and Lace, and this one is Pressed Flowers. And again, it's kind of like an off, almost like a beigey thing, but as you can see, it's got all of these really fun, great colors in it, purples and yellow and red and green and you name it. If there is a flower out there, its color is in here. So again, that's Lichen and Lace. So you have 2 Lichen and Lace going. I stash dived for everything. I didn't buy anything new for this one, which is probably the justification I used when I decided to buy new yarn last week. Like, really? Like, why do I need to justify it? It's my money. I didn't rob the bank. I didn't. So, I have done clue 1 and clue 2. So here's what you're supposed to do basically. And I don't want to give too much away, but so for each clue you knit it twice, but you knit it, you know, you've got clue 1 and 2 going on these needles over here, and clue 1 and 2 going on these needles over here. What I'm doing is I am just doing one piece right now. I am going to go back and do the other 2. And I can kind of see, I think, how they're going to go together. But I don't want to be rushing, I guess, and make mistakes, because I've already made some mistakes just doing the one. And, you know, it got a little frustrating, especially clue number 1. Clue number 2, I didn't have too many issues with it. Sorry, I thought I just turned that around. I didn't. Clue number 2 is actually really easy. And that was good because I had, here's the thing, in the pattern, do I have that inside out? Outside in? No, I don't. Okay. In the pattern, I usually, when I'm knitting, I stick to pretty kind of simple stuff. I'm not going to lie. But this year, my point was to sort of branch out and really kind of amp up the knitting and try new things and try more difficult pieces. So, and some of you, if you're knitting it, are probably saying there wasn't anything difficult in there, but if it's not a knit or a purl or a yarn over or knit 2 together, I'm going outside my comfort zone. So, I literally Googled, or actually I went on YouTube and had to figure out how to do probably most of the stitches. But once I kind of figured out, I was like, oh, and you know what? Once you figure it out, it's not that hard. And I'll show you, the colors are looking a little washed out on this because I got the light going on. And I can't even see if you can, if I'm holding it up right. I'm looking through the holes now. Yay for lace. So this is where it is with clue number 1 and 2. So you can see the color. I really, really like this purple. We've only used a little bit of it. And at first, I'm just going to fold it here. There. I wasn't really sure how well the pressed flowers would kind of fit in with the color scheme. But you know what? It's kind of oddball enough that I like it. It doesn't quite fit, but it fits by not quite fitting. It keeps it from being boring. That's what I'm saying. So that's kind of where it's at. So that's clue 1 and 2, and then technically I have to knit this again on another set of needles. But again, I find that, like, I did this one on the weekend, clue 2 on the weekend. Clue number 1 took me most of the week because it's just, I need quiet time to kind of concentrate on the pattern, especially clue 2. I found it was a lot of kind of straighter knitting, garter stitch, and then increases, which was great. But clue number 1 was a little more involved, and I had to concentrate. It's so hard. So, anyways, that was that. So that was, oops, I'm gonna stick those in there. That was one of the works in progress. So, and you know what? That is kind of, I think that's it. I got no work done. I got no work done on my sister's sock. I'm sorry, Al. It's exactly where it was the last time. But I took it out and I was going to knit on it while we watch TV, but then I realized I'm at the point now where I think I have to start decreasing. So I think I'm at like 6.5 inches now, thereabouts. So I thought, I don't want to, given my history with socks, if you've seen the previous episodes, I didn't want to like chance watching TV and messing it up. So that went back in the bag, and I didn't get any work done on my simple lines. So that's kind of it for WIPs. Yeah, I didn't cast on. I was saying how I was going to cast on another pair of socks, and then I thought, you know what, I'm not going to, because I really want to get these done for my sister. So I'm going to actually be monogamous with socks, as in not casting on another pair. I'm obviously still going to work on other projects. Yeah, I'm not going to cast on another pair until I'm at least halfway through the second sock. And then I'm okay. Then I can cast on another pair. So that's it for WIPs. Which means, what does that mean? What's in the queue? That's a good place to go. Let's see what's coming up next. So I think what I'm going to do, since I finished my soft yak slouch hat from Church Mouse Yarns, I'm going to cast on the Sockhead yarn. I'm going to pick out at random, maybe. I don't know. for a hat. I think those look good as socks. I think I may want those. Yeah, so I'm just going to pick out at random and then I'm going to put it back in. Oh, no. You know what? That hat, shroom. Oh my God. This is like my favorite lichen and lace. And yes, I understand. I say that about every skein of lichen and lace. But this may be my favorite. This is my favorite of my favorites. It's got yellows and grays and browns. That's what I'm going to do. And that's going to be my TV knitting. I say that and then I should double check and make sure that yardage wise, 400 meters. Okay, I need 400 meters. And this is 365. You know, if I don't do a rolled up brim, that should be fine. I'm gonna try it. Worst case, it gets frogged. And I may have a backup just in case I change my mind. But I think, yeah, I really like that color for the Sockhead. So that's gonna be my TV knitting. So that's gonna get cast on fairly soon. What's the other thing I was gonna do? Oh yeah, I really want to cast on one of the new shawls that I downloaded, either the Fairy Hill or the Paris Toujours. Now, you know what? I need to get to work on my simple lines. So if I have the Sockhead hat, and I've got the simple lines going on right now, and I got to finish my sister's socks, and I have clue number 3 arriving on Friday. Then, yeah. So you know what? That's it. But coming up, like down the line, I think I'm going to do the Isabell Kraemer one. What was that called? Paris Toujours, which I just said. I should know. Did I mention I wasn't sleeping? Okay. So, yeah. Oh. So I joined another Cal, and this one starts June 1st. So it's going to kind of be happening in the middle of the starting point Cal, but it's, make sure I get everybody who's doing it. Taylor at Wool Needle Hands is doing it with Arrow Knits and I think it's Joy from the Anxious Knitter podcast. And Arrow Knits, I'm gonna have to look up her name because I just subscribed to her podcast, but I haven't had time to watch it yet. So the Cal is the Spin for All 2017 Spin Along. So hang tight because here's why. I bought myself a spindle a little while back because I had watched an instructional video on spinning. And I was like, all gung-ho, I'm gonna learn how to do this. It looks like so much fun. It looks so meditative. Sorry, the bag's crinkling. And then I put it in the bag and I got working on other projects and it sat in the bag. So, seriously, like, I get the rainbow here. It's like, and yeah. So anyway, the spin along is for beginning spinners. And given that clearly I have not spun a thing, I completely qualify. So I'm going to use this because I'm not going to have to, I forget what they call this when you pull it apart. but it's yeah, I think it's going to be pretty close to being ready to go. I do have some other, and I love this. It's not a whole lot, but it's like kind of a rusty orange, which I love rusty orange. But I'm going to start off with Rainbow Bright over here. So this starts on June 1. I'm going to rewatch the instructional video because I completely forget what it was. And the instructional video, I'll put a link to it if anybody's interested. If you are interested, I'll put the links to the little, they did a little intro for it as well. And yeah, so I'll do that. And the instructional video that I watched because it was really good. And there's several parts to it, so I'll put the first one on and then you can kind of link to the ones that, you know, come after it. So yeah, so that's in the queue. And so that's kind of enough. And the sweater, I have to cast on a sweater because it's going to take me a little while to knit it and I want it for the fall. And, you know, sweater weather here hits in probably early October. We're good for sweater weather. So I'm going to be spinning and I'm going to be knitting, and that's what's in the queue. I have a complete and total shark phobia, which I understand is irrational. Like any body of water, including a pool, can have a shark in it. It's not rational. I know. My father took me to the drive-in when I was a small child to see Jaws. And then I stupidly went back to see Jaws 2, Jaws 3D, and Jaws 4 The Revenge. Because somewhere in my head I thought knowledge is power. I did not go back in the water for the rest of the summer. But my brother did. So I had to sit on the bank and scan the water for fins. It was a lake. I can't swim in open water anymore. So I decided to do a skein called Shark Week. So here it is. Because, you know, this is what happens when sharks are in the water. I know it doesn't. I know there's all these people like, no, sharks really aren't as bad as everybody says. You know what? Sharks eat you. You're dinner to them. And I'm not saying that they're doing it maliciously. I understand they have to eat. I just don't want them eating me. So here's... do it this way. So here is Shark Week. So I did a shop update on May 21st. This was dyed after it, so I'm gonna probably do some more of these. I've got, I think, 17 new colorways and some tonals in there right now that I updated on the 21st, which was Sunday. So I'll wait and see kind of how these are. This is my first foray into selling my yarn. So I have a couple skeins of this. This one, I'm working on my speckling. So this one is Black Thumb. So it's kind of like a, I don't know, medium green. But it's basically green and black speckles through it. I was trying some new bases. So I got some lace. And I don't actually have names for all of these. So this is the lace, and then this is the sock weight. So you can kind of see, I love seeing how the different bases dye up. And I can tell you, I love this lace weight. Like, the lace weight is so soft that I'm just gonna I'm just gonna have to find a bunch of like patterns for lace weight and go to town. Like that's just crazy. So I have no name for that one yet. So, you know, if anybody has any ideas, shoot them at me. So I'm making my sister's socks out of the first skein of yarn that I ever dyed. And I called it Spring Explosion. So that's what it looked like caked up. So I didn't write down the pattern. I took a picture of it in the pot and I was kind of looking at it going, what colors did I use for that? And I know, looking at it now, I know that I forgot some. So this was intended to be Spring Explosion, but it's not. So, but you can tell, yeah. So I really should have taken this one up with me, but I was like, no, I think I remember it. No, you don't, Kelly. So anyway, before I finish, I've got to do a little more test because I actually love how this one is knitting up. Like the colors in it are just, they're very vibrant. I really like it. So I want to be able to recreate that. This one I was calling Secret Garden. And I did this in the BFL twist and the lace weight. So, oops, let's see if I can do this. So this is the lace weight. And I'll just do it one by one. That's the lace weight. It's got, and then this is the BFL twist. But this one is called Dewdrop. And it's got some really kind of nice, gentle colors. So the green, of course, not showing up. But it's got kind of greens and a paler pink and some, oops, sorry, gray in it. I need some sleep. So yeah, check those out on Instagram. It's in my Instagram feed. It's probably one of the most recent pictures on there. It's in the Dewdrop. And I really like that. It's kind of like a nice mild color. So I think I'll definitely do that one again. So then I had like little bits of dye left over. So I thought I'm going to just do a little tester on the DK. I had a DK skein up with me. And I had one skein of Stellina that I was testing out. I don't know if you can see I think you can see the sparkles. I can see a little hint of them. So I basically used up the rest of the dye on these two skeins. And I just called them hodgepodge because these were just sort of like leftover ones that I thought, well, I got a little dye left over. I might as well toss something in the pot. So I did, and did a little stripey action. So this is the Stellina base, and it's got a bunch of different colors in there. And then this is the same thing on a DK weight. So like those weren't really like a planned colorway or anything. It was literally, and I think that's what I might do is if I have some dyes left over kind of at the end of the day, I think I'm just going to do like a bit of a hodgepodge one of thing. So these may end up in the shop in the next update. I don't have, that's my only skein of gold Stellina. Is that the gold or is that the silver? It might be the silver. Yeah, I think it is. Actually, sorry, I think it's the glitter. But I think I'm definitely going to get some more because I really liked, it's funny, I'm not a sparkle kind of person. But I really, really like it. For these ones, those two, what I did, I was calling it double dipping, but I'm sure that's not the name. That's just what stuck in my head. I basically had one end of the yarn in one pot, one end of the yarn in the other pot, and they had two different colors. So I had purple in one pot, and then I had a bright pink in another, and then there was a section of the yarn that was left undyed. And because I wanted to see what that would look like. And if you go on my Instagram feed, you'll see what it looks like before I reskeined it. It looks so awesome. I almost didn't want to reskein it. But yeah, it was really neat. I loved how it turned out. I'm probably going to knit something with this to see, just to get a sense of how it knits up. But I've got some plans for doing some more double dipping for upcoming ones, and I'm going to try some different color combinations and see how that turns out, which is actually really exciting. And yeah, so that's it. As I said, I did do a shop update on the 21st. There's plenty of yarn left in there, so have a look. It's on Loch Briar Knits. I'll put the link down below and in the show notes if you're on Ravelry. But yeah, check it out. It's got a bit of a mishmash of different variegated yarns and some tonals. I have a yak yarn in there, which I really love. And yeah, so it's mostly all sock weight except for the yak yarn. There's 2 skeins of that, and there's 3 skeins of the of a DK weight. So that's about it for dyeing. So I think what's left? Total randomness. Like this whole podcast hasn't felt totally random. So one thing, actually, this is not totally random, but one thing I thought I would do is I had done up several kind of tester skeins as I was first trying out the different colorways. So I literally have I have a bunch. I have these, and then I have these. And I thought, you know what? I think what I need to do, for some of them aren't going to be repeated because they didn't quite turn out exactly as I wanted them, so I still have to kind of perfect it. So it's not like I'm going to be throwing this up in the store. So I thought what I should do is try to knit, starting in June, I'm going to try to knit a pair of socks a month, which I know some people do it in seriously a few days or a week or something, but yeah, not me. So anyway, I thought that I should try to do a pair a month, and up until Christmas, and then I can give them as gifts, because I think I know the shoe size for most of the people in my family, or I can find it out. They're all within a throwing distance for the most part. But yeah, so I thought that would be a good way to for me to get a sense of how certain things knit up. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to try to knit up a pair of socks a month using the tester skeins. This thing, it swallows my entire face. That's random, right? So what else? So we went to Mahone Bay on Saturday, and it was a long weekend. So then we really just spent the other 2 days just relaxing and kicking around. We went to see the movie King Arthur, which we both really loved. I was a little worried because they said it didn't have a very big box office opening, and so I was like, oh, what if it's not as good as we thought? Because we're kind of going between that and Guardians of the Galaxy, which we both really want to see. But we figured it would probably still be pretty crowded, especially on the long weekend, everybody going to the movies or whatever. So we thought, you know what, let's go to King Arthur. Guardians is going to be here for a while. So we went, and I loved it, and my husband loved it. It was a really enjoyable movie. I love how they told the story. There's certain elements of it that I thought were pretty cool. And it had Eric Bana and Charlie Hunman. I always say his last name wrong, from Sons of Anarchy. Jude Law, David Beckham puts in an appearance. So I loved it. We watched it in 3D. And it was really great. This weekend, I'm going away again Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. A group of my friends and I do what we call the Sanity Saving Spring Writers Retreat. And we usually go to a farmhouse. For the past few years, we've gone to a farmhouse, which is, I love. This time we're going to cabins out Pictou County way. And I grew up in Pictou County, so hopefully I can find my way. I have the world's worst sense of direction. Horrible, like literally I could get lost in my backyard, that bad. So that's this weekend, and I'm basically just going to take the book that I finished and I have 100 pages left to finish reading through and make sure that I didn't miss any words or something sounds funky, and then that's really, so it's going to be a pretty easy, I'm not going to be working too hard on my writing. I am taking my knitting, and that's about it. That's what's going on. That's my random ramblings. So I'm gonna shut up. So thanks everybody for stopping by. That's a really, way to cut out. Really, I get a smoother exit. But thanks everybody for stopping by. I'll see you again in 2 weeks' time. Nor for all of you who are watching from the U.S., I guess you guys have Memorial Day weekend this coming weekend, so have a good one. Thanks for everybody for stopping by, and I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed yourself. Subscribe if you want to get notified when the next episodes come out. Usually put them out. Been pretty consistent with putting them out every 2 weeks. And I think that's about it. So I'm going to sign off, and happy knitting, and I will see you guys again soon.